Wow. What in the world did I just wake up to? So I get home from work. I'm just extremely exhausted. I was like, yeah, maybe it'll be a close game by the time I wake up. I just don't want to do too. Oh, and as soon as I wake up, I wake up to this 8-1, 8-2 catastrophe. And yet, here I am covering the Mariners. 2 outs. Chargois on the mound, 8-2. And here's the pitch to Freeman. And that is in there for a strike. I don't think anyone's getting fired today. I don't think anyone's getting fired. Not at all. Freddie Freeman is awaiting. And now here is the pitch. And that is a foul ball. And Ian, maybe I'm looking towards more like the end of the game. I'm looking to do something like that. End of the game to allow fans to vent. But I'm not going to let you all vent the entire time. Just going to let you vent for a few minutes because I wonder how much demand I'll get. I don't know, but I'm providing this a space for fans to vent however the heck they want. They can say whatever the heck they want as we got Arozarena and he makes the catch and that's going to be 3 down. We go to the top of the 7th inning. Mariners are getting absolutely obliterated. I'm not even in the mood to even play a commercial right now. See, that's how much I care about this channel. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the fans. I'm in it for the Mariner fans. I'm in it to provide a place where people can say whatever the heck they want. And and just express how pathetic of a team this really is. It really is pathetic to watch this. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. It's absolutely torture to watch. I'm also making this for the Japanese audience too, so I gotta set the title because people love Shohei Ohtani, so I got to do it for them. I mean, Japanese fans might be Mariner fans too. If not, they're probably all Dodger fans, so who knows? But I'm putting it also in Japanese. So the Japanese people can watch. And holy crap, I have 19 people coming in. If you guys want to come in here, say whatever the heck you want. I don't even feel like I even want to put in a commercial for this. I was at work all freaking day, was kicking my butt so hard. I didn't even want to cover the game until later in the inning, and then I take a nap, and I wake up to 8-1, and I'm like, okay, do I really want to? Oh, here I am. Here I am to cover the Mariners game. I've got 19 people in. Anyone who wants to say something, let it out of your systems, man. Just let it all freaking out of your system. I can't believe I'm doing this. I really can't believe I'm doing this. And anyone who wants to say anything about the Mariners, whatever you want to say, let it all out. I don't care if I disagree with it. I don't care if you say Scott Service is an amazing manager, still have a job, or say something like Scott Service is horrible. Say whatever you need to say. Just let it all out. I won't block any of you guys, even if I 100% disagree, which I'm probably going to agree with your statements anyway. Let it all out. As we have Luke Raley up to the plate. And now here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 2. Yes, go Mariners. Yeah, sure. And Ian, I'll star your comment. If you're still around, I'll let you come into the show. But boy, what a disaster. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. And we got 1 out. This team, it seems that they've just quit. I don't see how Scott Service can stay after this road trip. How? I just cannot imagine him getting another game after this. but it won't surprise me. And now here's the pitch to Julio. And he takes it for a ball. What an uninspiring set of baseball that we have seen. It's just absolutely pathetic to watch. And now the pitch. That was right up the middle for a strike. I'm like, Julio, what do you got to lose? Just freaking hack at it. Just freaking hack at it. This is just... And here is a ground ball. And that is out. 2 outs. And again, all comments welcome. Julio was supposed to be compared to Bobby Witt Jr. It's not even a comparison this year. I don't know why everyone still loves him, even when he's so bad. No, I don't love him right now. He's not even my favorite Mariner. He wasn't even my favorite Mariner day one. My favorite Mariner was either Jared Kelenic or George Kirby at the time. And now we got the big dumper. And now the pitch. And that is popped up and foul. Like, I'm going to now make a poll and ask the question, should Scott Service be fired after today? I mean, I absolutely think he should, and I think he should have been fired years ago. The pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. I didn't want to cover this game, especially the score I saw, and yet here I am, still torturing myself because I love you all. I do it for the love of the channel. I do it for the love of the Mariners. And here I am, and I'm still watching. And I've had already 134 people watching, I guess. The pitch. Check swing, did he go? Oh, he went, and that is going to be strike 3, and that is going to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. It is stretch time for anyone that cares to do the 7th inning stretch. And everyone take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, so let's root for the Mariners. I think if they don't win, it's a shame. Well, they pretty much lost at this point, so it already is a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Yep, that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Like, just watching this game is torture. I mean, it's even less torturous to watch commercial break. I actually feel more stimulated watching the commercial than watching this freaking game. But I am going to ask the question, should Mariners manager Scott Service be fired after this game? And I'm going to say the answer should be yes. Like, you got to let the man go. And I am putting out the poll. I'll put it, I guess, at the end of the show. And also, if you have visited here, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Donate to this channel if you would like to. I mean, I'm not going to force it. I mean, I'm probably not going to force it at all because this is a torturous baseball game, and I can't believe I just came in right at it. I can't believe it. And JT Chargois on the mound again with 4 pitches in. And my water bottle's back there. And here is Teoscar Hernandez. And now here is the pitch. And that is way outside for a ball. And that's going to be a 1-0 count. At the end of this game, I'm inviting fans to come in and express their feelings and frustrations. And now the pitch to Teoscar. And that is going to be a strike. It's going to be a 1-1 count. Julio needs to change his stance. He's always getting beat by fastballs and the other way. Say everything you need to say about this team because it's an absolute pathetic dumpster fire to watch. And now the pitch. And that's going to be a foul ball, 1-2. Yeah, we're at the point. Mike Blowers is correct. Every game means everything. Like, you've got to play like 2001 Mariners baseball. Yeah. TK says, geez, Rooftop, I just got here and you weren't kidding with the title. I was not. Dumpster fire it's been. The pitch. And it's outside for ball 2. I'm inviting fans to come in. The thing is, I have to give you a time limit because I don't want you to eat up so much time because I think I might have some demand for Mariner fans to come in. And, yep. I mean, I can't believe I could have just enjoyed. And here's a ground ball right to third base. And he's out. Like, I could have just continued my nap or better yet, sleep and get better sleep for my show at 6:30 in the morning tomorrow. But no, I decided to torture myself for you guys and give you guys an opportunity to express how you really feel about the Mariners. Because right now we're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Mariners are 6 outs away from completing a humiliating defeat. And Gavin Lux is up to the mound or up to the plate. Now the pitch. And that is going to be low for a ball. And we're looking at the 1-0 count. And now we are looking at the 1-0. And now here's the 1-0 pitch. And now here's a line drive. Oh, diving stop by Rivas. Throw to first in time. And that is 2 outs. Nice play by Rivas. It was not a diving play, but it was a sliding play. Riley says, I may get banned if I express my true feelings. That's fair because I don't want to get demonetized for swearing. So I'm gonna have to say, just keep the profanity at a low. I mean, I'm all for profanity because everyone should be allowed to express how they feel. I think it's more healthy, but YouTube just doesn't allow that, and I just don't want to get in trouble. And now the pitch, and that is a ball. And now we are looking at Will Smith. We're looking at the 0-1. Now the pitch. And that is a strike. And that is 0-2. And now we are looking at 0-2 for Will Smith. He's been 0 for 6 in this series. Mariners been able to handle him at least. The pitch. And that is outside for a ball. And the frustrating thing is, why didn't JT Chargois pitch yesterday? He should have pitched yesterday, but they never gave him the ball, which was extremely infuriating. And now we're looking at the 1-2. And now here is the 1-2 pitch. And that is outside for a ball. Ian says he should have been fired years ago, so I agree. I think if the Mariners have any hope for playoffs, they need to fire Scott after the game so they can start culture. Yes, they should have fired him. I'm telling you, like, literally right after 2018 is when they should have fired him. There was no point in rebuilding, which he already failed to take this team to the playoffs. And I don't want to hear the whole Jack Zarenzik or Bill Bavasi excuse. That was years ago. He still had somewhat of a competitive team as we have a line drive base hit to left field, and Will Smith is going to go to second base, and he is going to get there in second base, and that is his first hit of the series against the Mariners. Will Smith with the double. Oh, yeah, Ian, so that was you on the Instagram as well. So, yeah, you'll be coming on after this game. Heck, I might even have you come in even a little bit earlier. But yeah, Riley, if you want to come in this show, I will provide the link as well because I want to provide a space. This sounds lame to say, and I know it sounds all PC, but yes, I want to provide a safe space for Mariner fans to express themselves. And now here is Max Muncy up to the plate, and that is a strike. And now we are looking at the 0-1 for Max Muncy. 0-1. And now we are looking at the 0-1 pitch. And now it's a foul ball in the back, and that is now an 0-2 count. Mariners are absolutely on the verge of a very humiliating defeat. 8-2. I mean, 6 runs back. And looks like I'll have quite a bit of people watching. Like I'm telling you, I will let people come in the show. And now here's a liner and foul. Nearly caught by the ball boy. And that's going to be a foul ball. And Riley, do you want to, if you're interested in come in the show, I'd welcome you too. Everyone, I'm going to provide a link towards the end of the game. Max Muncy, the man who killed the Mariners the last 2 games. And we're looking at the 0-2. The pitch. Oh, and a fly ball to right field, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Will Smith, oh, that's foul. They called it foul. Never mind. False alarm. They called it foul, but it deserves to be fair. Sid Rocks caught the last part of your stream last night. Was great to see Jay in there. Yeah. I tried to get Jay Trident podcast in here, but he wasn't up for it. I don't blame him. I mean, look at this game. Who wants to cover a Mariners game when it's 8-2 Dodgers? Like, who wants to do that? I do, though. I actually want to cover a Mariners game when they're absolutely getting tortured. And we're looking at the 0-2. Just to think that just a half freaking hour ago, I just took a nap. I woke up and I go, oh, crap, 8-2. The pitch. And now a fly ball to right field, and that is still foul. Max Muncy is really trying to get it out of there. Really wants to put in that huge final dagger as if there already is one. He's playing no mercy like Cobra Kai. Man. Oh, Dustin says it's just a game. Yep. Thank you, Dustin. Yep. Thanks for those comments. I really do appreciate it. Yep. But that is a good opinion of yours. It is just a game, but hey, it's for my entertainment. And now it's a 1-2 count. And now we are looking at the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and Chargois gets away with it. And just to think that Chargois could have been used yesterday. Like, seriously? They don't use him? And now, if you guys want to go to the Mariners game and you want to save $20, here is an ad for you that you may want to take advantage of right here. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code RoofTopSports to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. And also, I think this is Dustin's accurate interpretation of reacting to how I feel about the Mariners game. Here it is.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin. This is serious. I know.
Yep, that's exactly what Dustin's doing to me. I appreciate it, Dustin. You the man. And as of now, I'm looking at the poll. It's a pretty overwhelming one-sided number that I must say. And we're looking at 12-2. I'm sorry, 8-2. I was looking at my concurrent viewers. It's a pretty strong showing tonight already. Like, I didn't expect a huge amount of views for you guys. I just want to say thank you for even showing up to my show, showing up to my channel. And if you really do support this channel, donate to the YouTube Super Chats or donate to Rooftop Sports. There's the QR code, and I'll even provide you my Venmo link if you are interested in doing so. So that way YouTube cannot take 30% of my revenue, but unfortunately the IRS can take 25% of it, unfortunately, because they're evil. Sounds about right. boo the heck out of the team on Friday? Oh, yes, they absolutely deserve it. Here's a boo for them. And that's a base hit for Randy Arozarena, and we got a man on first base. He's got a single, and now, and you also that's what the QR code's also for, to donate to this channel, to provide support for this channel. And Randy Arozarena, he did belt a single. That was nice. Got no outs so far. Next up is Jorge Polanco, and how is Polanco doing today? Polanco's 0 for 3. So I think this is the appropriate reaction of him to be... Actually, this is the appropriate reaction of him batting. Oh, isn't that nice? Said Rocks. That's really nice. I like that comment. It's a great comment. Now we're looking at the 0-1 for Jorge Polanco. Swing and a miss, and that is going to be strike 2. And this torturous game just continues. And the only thing, the best we can hope for is Jorge Polanco continuing this not so much momentum, and see if the Mariners could at least make a run, give a run for their money. The pitch. And now here's a fly ball to right field, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. And now there's a play going to third. Nope, Arozarena is going there because he's running as if there is absolutely nothing to lose, and that is the mentality that I really do like. I mean, it's kind of pathetic that I have to say that, but what else am I going to say? Like, there's nothing positive I can really say about this team right now because they are stinking the hole really badly. But the fortunate thing is, at least there's men on first and third, and now it's Justin Turner up to the plate. And this time he doesn't get a standing ovation because I think the Dodger fans are like, yep, I feel bad right now. And now here is the pitch. And that is a foul ball. And we're looking at the 0-1 for Justin Turner. He did single in the third inning. Surprisingly, Mariners even had a lead in this game. And now the 0-1 up high for a ball. And that is going to be a 1-1 count. Mariners Justin Turner is 2 for 7 in this series. He's not done anything great at all. He has been an absolute disappointment. Yeah, that's great, Aaron Goldsmith. Don't really care because right now I want to see the Mariners make some kind of a miracle comeback, even though it's probably not possible. But you never know, right? And now the pitch. Oh, and that could have been a strike. The umpire was tempted, it seems. Will Smith tried to sell it to him, and it didn't happen, and that's going to be a 2-1 count. You see Dave Roberts, he's very chillaxed about it. And now the pitch. And now here is a fly ball to right field. Nothing doing. Mookie Betts. That wasn't deep enough to warrant any kind of a... It wasn't enough to warrant any kind of a sacrifice fly, unfortunately. And now we are looking at 1 out. And it's not like... It's really tough to see the Mariners make any kind of a comeback. Dom Canzone's up to the plate. And now Canzone is 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly in the second. And now here is the pitch. And check swing. He did go. Horrible swing. Trident down. Yep, everyone posted in there. Put the comments in there. Trident down. Got quite a bit of activity, so that means maybe I can get some Mariner fans to vent how they feel. And now here's the 0-1. And that is going to be a ball. 1-1 the count. And looking at the 1-1. I mean, they already did clear the benches, and that didn't do anything. The 1-1. The ground ball, going to be a double play ball. And safe. And looks like Arozarena is going to score. And now it's 8-3. And the Mariners are down by 5. So the Mariners get some kind of a score and some kind of momentum going. I think. Not really. And that was a close play, but Canzone got there in time. Dylan Moore is now up to the plate. I wonder if the Mariners are trying to get some kind of a fight going. I really hope so, but it seems like it's too little too late, the pitch. Now here's a chopper right to the pitcher. He kind of bobbles it, throw to first, and not in time. And now we got runners on first and second. They'll give him a hit. Seems that Dodgers are playing a little bit complacent at the moment, and hopefully this is the Mariners' chance to make something happen. I mean, you got the run to make it within 2 at home plate. So I'm not saying that this game is over, but I'm not saying that the Mariners are going to win this game, but at least just make it interesting. As Leo Rivas is up to the plate, he's now 2 for 3. His batting average has shot up to 277 with a 346 on base percentage. Dustin, you got banned from other Mariners live streamer for speaking too much of the truth. Was that the Northwest Sports Fanatics, Mariners Mojo? Who was that? I'd like to know who that was. Type it in there. I'm kind of curious because I don't block people. And now the pitch. And that is outside for a ball. And now we're looking at 1-0 count for Leo Rivas. I'm pretty sure it was a Northwest Sports Fanatics, wasn't it, Dustin? I hope it's not. He's a cool guy. He just gets uptight sometimes. The 1-0. And that was in there for a strike. Couldn't really swing at that because that was in the inside. Those are tough to swing at. And now we are looking at the pitch. And that's going to be low for a ball. We got 2 outs. Mariners are hoping to do some kind of a rally, which they kind of did, but it took 2 outs to do so. And now we're looking at the 2-1. And that is inside for a ball 3. And after this, you're going to have Luke Raley up to the plate, then Julio, and then Cal Raleigh. So I know I'm going to jinx it, but a comeback isn't exactly impossible. It's just improbable. And now we got a 3-2. 3-2 the full count. And hopefully Mariners can do something extremely amazing. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you just never know. As we are looking at a 3-2 count. And now here is the pitch. And now here's a ground ball. Nothing doing. Throw to first. And that is in time. And we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. And it's 8-3. Mariners are still heavily trailing by 5. Very unfortunate. And now we're going into the bottom of the 8th inning. What else are the Mariners going to do? JT Chargois is pretty much done. They barely let Trent Thornton pitch. Logan Gilbert got absolutely killed. And they're putting in Taylor. Like, look at all these pitchers that the Mariners could have been using. They could have been using these other fresh guys, but they're using all the banged up guys. So that's why I think Scott's got to go, because he doesn't even know when to use his pitchers, how to manage his pitchers. Like, it's frustrating to see. But now, hopefully, I don't know. Lyle Goldstein of Marine Layer Podcast says, I publicly said it in the past. I would hike Mount Everest on my hands and knees for the M's to trade for Kyle Tucker. Well, I would sacrifice every little thing I have my name for Shohei Ohtani for be the Mariners. That sounds about right. I mean, Lyle Goldstein, just be very careful if you end up going to Mount Everest. If you end up dying there, your body is not, you're not going to even have an opportunity to have a cremation or a burial. Your body's just going to be there. And also, when you go to Mount Everest, there's a rumor that you also have to pick up after yourself and you had to put it in a bag. So think about the whole Mount Everest thing. What do we got here? Scott's bullpen management's terrible. They look lifeless. They look miserable. What we got? You're so done. Stoff said it best on your show the other day. Best interview ever. Appreciate that, Gamer11. They are just lifeless. Yes, they are. Houston lost again, and looks like we won't gain any ground for the second straight. 3 outs from falling back from a 500. Road trip's going to start by getting swept and end up getting swept. Yeah. And now we are looking at the pitch by Taylor, and that is a strike. Rivas, great hitter with no one on base, but with people, so I don't know, yeah. Mother Sucka says, Astros have a very tough schedule coming up. That doesn't even matter. Mariners stink against... Oh, no, it's a bobble by Polanco, and now you got a runner on first base. Polanco could not field that. That should be charged as an error. And now we are looking at a man on first base. And, man, these people are really coming on to my show. Like, it seems like you guys are really enjoying the show so far, and I really do appreciate the turnout. I think I have a record turnout so far. I know I shouldn't brag about myself too much, but I'm just stating the fact. And now the pitch, and that is a ball. Or strike, sorry. Kevin Kiermaier is the batter. Leave Scott on tarmac to Lane Kiffin. And yeah, you know, that's right. And we are looking at the 0-1 and the pitch. And that's a foul ball. You heard on X, Saucedo streams a lot. Any truth to that? Yes, he has a freaking Twitch account. He does. It's nice to have an outlet to air out our grievances. This is the real Mariners fan corner. Yep. Now, I appreciate that. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Yep, I'm not here to block anyone. I don't want to do that. That takes too much work for me. I think it's childish. I'm not banning anyone. The only way I would ban anyone is if you send me some stupid like video or link of like telling me how to make $1,000 while taking a poo-poo, then yeah, I probably will consider doing that. But even then, the only thing I care about is just the comments going boom. Or if you send me porn links, then I'd be like, get the hell out of here. Don't give me that. Give me baseball. You know how Kevin Kirby says, you know how you always talk about the Mariners being owned by a corporation. I have a take in that. Kevin Kirby, if you'd like to join the show, I would love to hear your take on that. But I think I already know. John Stanton's the owner. Former CEO Howard Lincoln and John Ellis, they are the board members. So the Stooges are still around this team. Nothing has changed since Nintendo sold the team. Nothing changed. And also, they still have minority stake in the Mariners, too. The pitch. Outside for a ball. Like, imagine if Disney owned this team. Oosh. I wouldn't want to know. But I am interested to see people coming in to express their thoughts. And now we have Ohtani looking at it in 1 and 2. And now here's a ground ball, and it bobbles by Turner, but he fields it, and that's going to be 2 down. Shohei Ohtani today, he is now batting, he is 1 for 4 today, so it's not like he's had a fantastic day either. And nobody even hit home runs for the Dodgers either. They are about 15th in spending, and it's not the way. They are about 15th in spending. That's not it. It's the way they spend the money. It's true. And now the pitch. And that is a strike. Gamer11 says, I can't stand most of these other podcasters that have popped up in the last 2 years. You can tell the host haven't even been in the team for long and acted like surprise of disappointment. Yep, that's true. I'm probably the most knowledgeable Mariner fan in history. Like, I hate to say it, but Raise the Trident didn't become a Mariners fan until literally 22. I mean, here's the thing. You can knock on me, too. I did not come on to a YouTube channel until the 22 playoffs. So you guys can give me crap for that too. But the thing was, I was planning to build a YouTube channel for 5 years. But the thing was, I had no balls. And now here is the pitch. And that has popped up. Yeah, Gamer 11. Raise the Trident now. He doesn't like me at all. He got upset with me all over a post when Dave Sims accidentally said Cleveland Indians. I kind of give him I gave him a snaky response going, good, yeah, good job for him saying that. And then Jake got mad at me. And now the pitch. Here's a ground ball and the throw to first in time. The thing about Raise the Trident, though, the one thing he has that I don't, he has the connections of the other guys. He has deep connections with Mariners Mojo. And it's not like I know that behind the scenes. I know that because they talk to each other. They interact with each other. He has good ties with Locked On Mariners. He has good ties with everyone. So he has all the connections. But yet, I don't mean to brag, but yeah, he got mad at me for that. And he said he was uncomfortable with me after that. But anyways, I was able to build my YouTube channel from the ground zero with no connections. Kind of had baggage with my last Twitter account, talking crap about Seattle sports to its max. I have limited connections. The only people I've really interacted with are like Jay Trident Podcast, Steve Silver, and Couch GM for a couple shows. That's about it. Gamer 11. I did get Couch GM before. He's actually a cool guy. We kind of had a little rough go at it because I kind of rubbed him off the wrong way of being this ultra negative fan. So I kind of had to tone it down a bit. But yeah, Couch GM, I respect him. He knows how to get people to his show. Like he got Jamie Moyer on his show. He got Bryce Miller on his show. Like the only person I got, and I do appreciate being here, and I felt it was a privilege. I got Jeff Facero, the 97 Mariners #3 starter behind Randy Johnson and Jamie Moyer. I got him on the show, so that was a really cool experience. You got Softy bigger than all of them combined. I mean, Softy was on the Marine Layer podcast, though. Yeah. But yeah, Gamer 11, Raise the Trident. I don't want to say too much, but I do want to say that I just didn't like how he ended it with me. He did it in a very personal kind of way, and I shouldn't get too much into it. And maybe he's watching this and probably accuse me of slander, but it's not like he's paying attention to me either anyway. You think T-Mobile will be dead on Friday? That'd be interesting. And now here's the pitch. I bet Joey Cora would come on if you bought a dozen donuts. Oh my God. Look at Joey Cora. The guy just let himself go. He let himself go just like Griffey did. It's horrible. And now here's a fly ball and that is gone. Mitch Haniger hits a home run. And the Mariners bring it to within 4. And it's at least below less than 5. And 1 score away, you're going to cause a save opportunity. So at least Mitch Haniger these Mariners are coming up with some kind of a little bit of a fight. But must I say, too little, too late. Marine Layer, yeah, when he came out with that Kyle Tucker trade prediction, I commented it's never going to happen. He's in the same division. Got 600 likes. Yep. But hey, something that Lyle was able to do was he was able to reach out to the fans better than I could. And I was like on that Scott Service Fire train for years, and no one took it seriously until now. And people are still not recognizing me for the one calling it out first. I guarantee you, I'm the first YouTuber out of all Mariners to call for a Scott Service firing. The 1-1. That is outside for a ball. It rubbed me the wrong way. Some of them talking about Bauer, easy thing to do, throw them under the bus. Trevor Bauer did not deserve what he got. That woman was a fraud, and it was proven, and she is being investigated for that. And that is popped up to right field. Mookie Betts is there, and he makes the catch, and now we got one down. You think the Mariners are just having bad luck? I mean, look at Julio. Smoked the ball, robbed by Teo. Would have been a home run. Man, and I said Teo had bad defense. Boy, was I wrong about Teoscar Hernandez. And I'm willing to take that responsibility to the heart. And now we've got Cal Raleigh up to the plate. And now here is the pitch. And that is a foul ball. Mariners have one out, but it's not like it's completely over. It's not like it is. So it's not like it's all over yet. The pitch. Yeah, here's a little problem. Marine Layer Podcast doesn't like me either. I rubbed them off the wrong way. Here's the thing. I rubbed a lot of people off the wrong when I started. I mean, I'm a guy that wears a Cobra Kai shirt, and everyone else has like a Miyagi-Do kind of mentality. I think you get the idea. The 0-2. And a fly ball to center field. Popped up, and that's 2 down. And I'm going to get Ian onto the show because he called dibs first. Anyone who would like to be on the show, let me know. And I'll put out the link to see if there's any demand. No, I'm not going to get Lyle on the show. He won't be on the show. That's the thing. And that's fine. Like, if he doesn't want to be on my show, it's fine. Like, his styles and I, they're just too different from each other. And now here's the pitch to Rosarena. And he swings and misses, and that is a strike. Who thinks this team is cursed? They're not cursed. They're just badly run. Just badly run. They're not cursed. I don't want to say they're cursed. They're just horribly run. Yeah, you keep it real, and sometimes you have a tendency to become negative, but that's because you've been with this team way longer than any of them, and it's natural having experienced the Mariners. Yep. It is true. I've been with this team since 2000. I missed the entire Griffey era because my brain just wasn't there yet. It wasn't baseball ready until 2000. And ironically, I didn't get into the Mariners until after Griffey got traded. After Griffey got traded, that's what got my attention, ironically. But A-Rod was my favorite player growing up. And the pitch to Rosarena, swing and a miss, strike 2, and this is game time. What a disappointing game that this was for the Mariners. At least they made some kind of a fight out of it. And we're looking at a 1-2 count. And now here's the 1-2 pitch. And that is low for a ball. Randy Rosarena trying to still stay alive. Kevin Kirby says, I don't think you still think the Mariners have a chance. One bad road trip doesn't defy a season. We'll see. And now here's a 2-2. And strike 3 called, and that is the ball game. Mariners go down in humiliating fashion, but they at least made it somewhat of a game. 8-4. And I'm looking at the cameras at Scott Service, and I'm wondering if maybe that is the last time we'll see the likes of him. I mean, even he looks down. He's not even like, he's barely talking to anyone. He's just giving themselves, maybe giving a pat on the back. I can't even tell if he's doing that at this point. But this ball game is over, and immediately it's time to get my friend Ian onto the show as he wanted to. And Ian, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I can't believe. So I was so tired from work. I was just dead beat. I had this client making me run around in Seattle.
Oh, boy.
I got home and I'm like, nah, you know what? I just want to take a little nap. The game's closed, but maybe it'll be maybe like last 3 innings I'll come in. 30 minutes later, I wake up, alarm clock. I look at the score and I'm like, dang, I ain't coming on. But then another twisted thought I had, I was like, wait, but it's so bad that maybe there will be enough attention demand where people will come in and say whatever they want about this team. So that was my twisted thinking. Here I am. We have quite a bit of people, quite a bit of engagement. Now, take it to it. Like, what are your thoughts on this catastrophe of a game?
I mean, for this specific game, all the comments are pretty interesting, and I'll address a couple of them myself. But as far as the game, you can't throw every single game with 7-inning shutout ball. Some days you're going to give up runs. But our offense barely mustering up 4 when the other team's putting up 8. We're just never going to compete in that. And as far as Scott Service, I hope that's the last time we see of him. I mean, as I said earlier in the show, and you said it, we need a culture change. If they want to have any shot at the playoffs, they basically need to win 20 games in September, all the 3 or whatever in October, and then win out pretty much the last week of August. So they need to basically almost win out perfect to have a shot at least winning the division to get in. Because we're not, if you look at the wildcard standings, we don't have a shot if we're not our division winner because of just how bad baseball has been in general this year. We just don't have any teams that have really taken the division lead that's out of reach. But
yeah,
I mean,
and the other thing is, before you take notes before you forget something and lose your train of thought. I know you said October, but the thing is, there won't be an October because their last scheduled game is actually on September 29th against the Oakland A's. So
that is right. I'd forgotten we end on September 29th. So there will not be an October for this team. But
nope.
it's just a depressing thought. And as far as one of your fans said, I saw right before I had joined the stream, they said it's just one bad day. You know, I don't know if you're just being funny or naive, but one bad day.
No, he's being funny. I saw that too, and because I saw the following comments after that, and it was like, okay, now I know what you're saying because he said he was being real with this other Mariner YouTuber that blocked him.
Oh, I was gonna say it's not a one bad day issue. Like this is becoming humiliating. But I mean, we're coming off a road trip that we're gonna be below 500 on, and I mean, we talked yesterday before the game, and I was like, well, maybe they'll come out today, you know, salvage the series, get something moving forward to Seattle, and instead we lay another goose egg. And I mean, regardless of the 4 runs you see on the board, when another team scores 8, I don't care what you score. If it's not 7 to 8 or 8 to 9, you know, that close, it's not a ball game, at least in my eyes.
It didn't seem like. I mean, you saw the pitcher, he bobbled Dylan Moore's hit, and he was like, "Oopsie!" Well, whatever.
The biggest thing that I saw that, I mean, my takeaway is it was the inning before Moore gets a walk, we get a run, and Revis is up, and he swung at 2 of the worst pitches I've seen, and it's just at bats. If you're going to take an at bat in that moment, why are you going up there? I get the bases are juiced. We need a hit, not the hero ball. The grand slam is still not going to get you 8 runs. It would have been 6 to 8 at that point. Why are we trying to swing for the fence? And it's, again, lack of discipline, lack of coaching, and I'm tired of it. But, I mean, you have the stats in front of you. I don't have it all pulled up at the moment. But, I mean, it's another day where we're not going to win. And his misuse of the bullpen, I mean, what are we going to run the same guys out every single night instead of actually figuring out how to do this? That's crazy to me.
Well, what gets me is JT Chargois and the other kid named Tyson. Like they didn't even get a sniff at any of the last 2 games, and they should have because they would have been more fresh.
Well, they would have. What I think is funny is someone had one of my friends had brought this up because we were talking about it earlier, and I looked at Saucedo's stats today. I really don't understand how he's on the major league club right now, just because of the lack of the second half he's had, and after that first month he cooled off. He's been like, it's not his fault we lost, but it's like he shouldn't even be in that situation. And then putting Munoz in with the runners, if he is truthfully in Scott's eyes the closer, why are you bringing him in the 7th or 8th inning? That's not a closer role. And if you're saying that we don't have a closer and we have a rotation that he's been going on the last couple of years because he thinks that's better than having a true closer, I mean, look at where it's got us. We're not getting saves. We're not getting the big wins at the end of the game.
No, and then the crazy thing is those last two games were easily winnable.
Oh yeah,
Like
and
they were, and it's not like the Mariners. And it's not like the Mariners lost because it was the Dodgers. The Mariners lost because the Mariners lost.
No,
Like
the Dodgers haven't had an impressive series, but I mean it's stemming back to before that. But you go into Pittsburgh, we blow 2 games, we get a win, and we go into Detroit and we got smoked by the Tigers. And I mean I hate to say it, guys, but Javi Baez is not 2016 Javi Baez anymore. We should not be going into Detroit getting smoked. I mean they have one legitimate stud of a pitcher, but that's about it. Their offense is not what we made them look like each night we were in Detroit.
I know it's insane that Mariners were losing to a bunch of scrubs, and at least for the first 2 games, they were able to handle the likes of Ohtani, Freeman, Teoscar. They were actually able to handle them, at least until today, but they weren't that impressive at all.
Oh no.
But then when you go down to Gavin Lux and Max Muncy, they got absolutely killed by those guys.
And again, I don't understand that, how we can silence a great bat and then let the 7, 8, 9 hitters look like they're prime A-Rod, prime other stuff, just absolutely having nights. It's just, it's funny to me. But I mean, my biggest thing we're looking forward to, we're going to play the Giants. And I mean, I go to games down there a bit when I'm down there visiting family. So, I mean, I follow the Giants pretty regularly too. I wouldn't be surprised if they come in, especially with their pitching staff that looks good right now, and smoke us in 3 games just because of how badly we're playing.
I wonder if Robbie Ray is pitching, because if that is, that would be a great opportunity him to have like some kind of a revenge game.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know Snell just went 2 days ago. So.
Oh, Blake Snell is he's gonna go lights out against the Mariners, because you sent me that link where the Mariners didn't even bother calling him.
Yeah, see that I found that earlier August and I forgot to send it to you. But I mean, it's hilarious to me that we got to this point and it's just like, how are we now here where Snell wanted, he was here all summer. He was trying to get the Mariners to get him. And then to find out we didn't even call him. And it's like, dude, I get we have a good pitching rotation, but I'd much rather have a Blake Snell than a Woo or a Miller in the lineup. I mean, I love Woo. I'd rather keep Woo than Miller if we're really going down to it. But it's that you could have had another quality caliber pitcher, or we could even gotten rid of Castillo, which is unpopular with some fans. Me and you, we don't like Castillo. So putting Snell in there instead of Castillo, I mean, that's a difference. Again, it's not going to help the hitting, but it's just another piece of pitching that Scott Service just clearly didn't want. And I mean, that comment about Jerry Dipoto, he's not done anything good. I'm not a Jerry fan. He hasn't brought in enough when we've needed it, and he says the right things to certain people, but to me, he does not say what needs to be like ultimately talked about at the end of the day. And it's getting, as we talked about yesterday in the podcast, it's getting to the point where are the answers? This is now back-to-back days where you don't win. You're going into a pivotal series where we basically need to win out. And I don't want to hear the fans get crazy. If we get a 15-game win streak, we're tied with the Astros, the end of the season comes down, we go into Oakland, and all we need to do is win, and we get swept by the A's. Like, that would be the most poetic justice for this Mariners team. But
it really would.
It's just, I don't even know what to say.
I mean,
the Bauer thing. Yeah,
I've been on that train for a long time, and I've had plenty of Mariner fans on Twitter X that lit me up, and they said that I was like a supporter of whatever he allegedly did.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people ignore the fact that, I don't want to go too much into it, but Trevor Bauer was first off proven innocent. And all the things that they say that he's a bad teammate, blah, 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 is completely blown out of proportion. And plus, the one who tried to get Trevor Bauer in trouble actually got in trouble anyway.
Yeah, just to touch on it, because I don't want to get too into it, at least with bad teammates. Chris Sale cut up all the jerseys in Chicago when he was there and threw a ball over. I mean, they're bad teammates, bad teammates. He's not what Gene Segura was in our clubhouse, or D. Gordon or other stuff that had.
D. Gordon was not an angel on the Mariners either.
Neither was Segura, at least from what the reports were. But as far as the Bauer thing, he was proven innocent. It was all alleged, and I feel like the MLB kind of like what they did with Pete Rose. They blackballed someone, and once they do that, the MLB doesn't want to admit they've made a mistake. And so now they have forced basically the other teams to not want to look at him because of the PR problem he would be. Not because of him himself is bad. It's that the PR to do it. I mean, there's half the people don't really know what went on and half the people do. But it's sad because he's really good. And I know that if back in the MLB, he'd be great. And for the Mariners, it would be a great pickup to have him.
He'd be cheap. I mean, that, and an ownership standpoint, that's cheap. Like perfect.
Yeah, I mean, since our ownership, says they have the money, but say they want to get good players. Well, here's a cheap one that you could go out and get and not spend money, but I know you're going to make an excuse for why you can't. And it's just getting old. Yeah,
it really is. And let's take a look at some of the comments because they've been blowing up quite a bit. And I think it's going to start with Mother Sucka says Astros schedule is brutal. Mariners have an easy schedule. Does it really matter at this point?
No, it doesn't. And you addressed that during the game, and I'm gonna be real honest with this. I don't care if the Astros are playing the Braves and playing the Dodgers for the rest of the season, and they had to win, a handful of games. If we don't do our jobs and catch them up and pass them, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, yeah, while it's not football. I'll use that because that's a good thing. Football, each game matters, but, depending on where you're in the standings, you can get in. For the Mariners, it's a long season. We're coming to the end. We've been on a really bad slump to the point where I don't see the offense producing enough for us to need to start counting their games to catch them because we can't seem to win. Like this back-to-back nights where if we got a win, we'd be 2 games back up on the Astros. And it's just not happening.
No, I don't see it happening either. And next comments, we went to the Trevor Bauer already. Don't want to get too much into it because I think YouTube might say, hey, cool it, or I'm shutting your butt down.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It goes, I would have Scott go over Jerry Bill if... Okay.
So he's saying, I mean, you just can't do that. Your GM is everything that runs the organization. Like, I get the manager would want to, but the manager only has so much he can do. I'm not saying Jerry's limiting Scott, but Scott already makes bad decisions. I don't think you'd want him to build a farm system. He'd not bring in what you want. And as far as our farm system, to address that, we've traded away half our good players in the last 2 years from our farm system. So...
Who did we trade exactly? We traded.
Oh, we got rid of Noel V. Marte.
He got suspended, so he's not. He's a non-factor, and
he's back on the Reds now. He came back 2 months ago.
Check.
No, I know he did because I have him in my fantasy team. He hasn't been great, but he is back.
I mean, I can live with it. I mean, if it meant to get Castillo, which I was still okay with, I'm not going to lose sleep over losing him.
Going off names, we got rid of those. Like 3 outfielders this year, and I can't remember. They were all trades earlier.
Aiden Smith.
Yep.
But they didn't get rid of the high-profile ones, though.
No. I mean, obviously, we traded away Kelnick, a young guy in our own system.
Was not okay with that.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, we got rid of him, and it's just that we're trading away stuff that I didn't think. But, yeah, as far as the comment saying to go over, even if he did, I don't think he'd know to draft what we need. So, and I don't think it wouldn't work that way.
Get Joe Madden, and this is exactly what I want. I've been asking for this combination for years. It should have happened after the 2018 season, and I will say it again like I'm kicking a dead horse. Scott Service and Jerry Dipoto. They had Nelson Cruz, arguably in his prime. Robinson Cano was barely out of his prime, but he was still raking it.
Yeah.
Kyle Seager was in his prime. Felix was at least around. Maybe if they used him as a 3-starter or a 5-starter, that would have been more effective.
Oh, yeah.
They had him, Edwin Diaz. They had plenty of talent on the team, and they couldn't even break 90 wins. And I thought that should have been alone a fireable offense.
Well, they were in it for a little bit in the 1 year, but yeah, no, they couldn't. And it's just, I really am on board with the Joe Madden thing. I'm going to have a take here, which a lot of people don't. My dad grew up in the Bay, so I've looked into Tony La Russa. I like Tony La Russa. I get the White Sox thing and all of his off-field problems, but if you look at the 1 year he was with the White Sox before he had the health issue, they won a lot of games and they made it into the postseason. He's another manager who's older that even if he was only here to get a culture change before, say, we could get a Madden or someone like that, I think it helped this team. Or, even to finish out the year, if he took over for Scott, I think he would turn around the club because he demands excellence. And that is something I don't see from Scott. I don't see him demand stuff from the players, except to change stuff that he knows is hurting them.
Dustin made a comment. I can't say it right. I can't really show it right now because we're in the middle of that. I'm just going to say because of the month of November, I'm just going to leave it at that. But I don't blame you for saying it one bit, though. But I will agree that there is a double standard on that. Like, it's the same thing about Pete Rose, where it's the problem. Same thing with Pete Rose. Like, they killed him off for his whole gambling thing, even though that was nowhere near the issue. Because if they were actually transparent, Shohei Ohtani would have been suspended for a long time.
Yeah,
it was just a personal problem.
He knew a lot about that, and he didn't want to own up. And again, Pete Rose, sore subject. I think he's a great player. Should be in the Hall. Maybe not as a manager, but as a player, he should be in the Hall because he was a true 5-tool player and knew how to hustle. But we don't need to go down that road because that's a whole nother topic.
Way too much of a topic. And let's take a look. Not re-signing Seager was a mistake. Well, the problem was Kevin Mather said it on air that he was overpaid and they weren't going to bring him back. So Kyle Seager was just done and burned out. And you couldn't blame him for it.
And honestly, it's going to be rough because I know a lot of Mariners fans love Kyle Seager. At the end of that last year, he hit into way more double plays than I've seen him hit his entire career. And the fielding percentage was down quite a bit to the point where you want to re-sign him for 1 year? Yes, he makes the playoffs. But where would Suarez have been that year? Like, what would you have done with Seager? DH him, I guess.
Suarez and Seager could have taken over. They could have or ridiculously they could have platooned because of Scott Service loves the platooning. But But if Seager did stay, then there would have been no Suarez. And going back to Suarez, I do think that trading him was the biggest mistake of the offseason because he was good. Yes, he struck out like 200 something times, but he made it up with his extra base hits, RBIs, home runs, fielding, and leadership. Like there was that time when Julio Rodriguez had a meltdown where he was screaming at fans, and even Suarez was like, "Bro, calm down." And then next thing you know, Julio kills it. And I saw Scott Service, like he was kind of trying to tell Julio to calm down, but then Suarez like, no, I got this. I'll take care of it. You do your thing, because even he knew that Scott Service can't do it. And this is a good comment. I like this one. To be honest, the season seems to be done for me. What the Mariners do in the offseason, will they go in a 2004 or 5 panic attack and start signing guys? Basically, he's saying if there's going to be a Bill Bavasi, which I wouldn't be surprised. And the ironic thing about the whole Bill Bavasi era, all the other GMs, Woody Woodward of the 90s, Pat Gillick of early 2000s, they were restricted on how much money they could spend, but yet Bill Bavasi was able to spend however he wanted, and it was bad spending. We're talking Rich Aurelia, Scott Spezio, Miguel Batista, Jeff Weaver, Carlos Silva got a 5-year contract when he had a 4+ ERA.
Yeah, now, I remember this. When I read the comment, I was confused because I was like, we didn't get anyone good. And I was like, he's just saying we were out, but just paying viewers. I was like, 04 would have been the end of Edgar retired, and we really didn't have anyone left of the organization who was right there. Kyle got tired. I disagree with that comment. Kyle didn't get tired of being a player and a loser. He was burnt out because of that comment. When you get that kind of a comment after you've been faithful for 15 years to an organization, it doesn't make you come back. Same thing with like A-Rod. The way these fans booed him and treated him when he left, why would he come back? Like in 2016, we could have used a DH, and granted his numbers were down, but his 2015 was great. I guarantee you, when the Yankees said that, if the Mariners had reached out, which we didn't, he would have come and finished his career off here because he started here. It's not like he hated us. I'm not saying he wasn't a Yankee, but it's just stuff like that where comments the ownership has made has hurt us in the future.
It really does.
Or managers, the same thing with Griffey, regardless of how out of shape he was and not great. It just comments by people have hurt us and our playing and players that we've had.
I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., I can argue the way that he left Seattle was a lot worse than what A-Rod did. Like Griffey, He was given a massive contract, which would have been the highest paid at the time, and Griffey was like, "No, I'm still out of here."
Yeah,
he still wanted out.
He wanted to go to Cincinnati, and
he wanted to go home. And on top of that, the Reds gave him a Bobby Bonilla type contract as
which
well.
he's still getting paid for, by the way.
By the end of this
Both
season.
of them.
Who was the other? Oh, Mariners are they still paying for him too?
No.
I don't think they
but
are.
Griffey, the Reds are still paying Griffey, and the Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla until 2030 is when it expires.
Changed.
And don't forget Chris Davis of Baltimore. They're still paying him too.
When I saw that, I was mind blown because I was like, Davis had like 2 good years and then did you guys dirty.
Yeah, he does. Let's see. Oh, what we got? Oh, Gamer 11 basically said what we said. I blame the A-Rod hate on the Mariners franchise. I think they've done nothing to portray him in a positive light since he left, and they never will. You're basically not even allowed to say his name in the stadium. I did that. I remember when he came back in 2015 from his suspension, and when he came back in Seattle, I actually tried to start an ovation, and everyone gave me like huge death stares, and they were like, "Why are you supporting a traitor and a steroid guy?" And I was like, "Well, Brett Boone took steroids, and Nelson Cruz got in trouble with steroids, and the guy didn't say anything after that."
I mean, a lot of guys took steroids. I hate the let's hate on him for steroids thing.
But the Mariners were good when they left. He went to a bad team, blah, blah, blah. Griffey left because his friend had didn't think of that. Never heard of that one. But the thing is, Griffey does the one good thing that Griffey really does do good at, he really knows how to hide any of the negativity that he has against him. He does a really good job keeping it under the table. Like somehow, like remember when he ghosted the team, people still forgave him for that. And he didn't even say anything. Like he didn't even talk about it. He was like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah, I don't know. It's a whole thing. A-Rod will always be blackballed by the Mariners, but I wouldn't blame him getting paid what he got paid in Texas, which I still think he's getting paid for, unless he took a deal with the Yankees. $252 million in 2002. It would be crazy not to take that.
I mean, he admitted in Brock and Salk, which I did give him credit that they were able to get him and they were willing to, but A-Rod did say this, that he grew up with a single mother. I don't think he even knew his father. No. And I actually read some children books of A-Rod, and he admitted that he spent his childhood playing baseball with a roll of socks and a stick and a carton of milk, like Sammy Sosa. And then he says, when you grind for a long time and you see 252 right in your face, anyone would be insane not to take that.
But I mean, even before that, I don't know how much you see. I mean, his friend JD's dad was paying for him to play select ball and travel down there when he was younger. Like that was his best friend. Like he didn't have the money. He grew up in poverty. So not to get off on that trail, but like, yeah, when money talks, any player would. I mean, even Ichiro left us.
Well, Ichiro he requested the trade because he was done with the team.
He wanted that series.
And interestingly, I don't think there's a Scott Service press conference. Like I was waiting to see if there was on the Root Sports, but nothing
I'm not seeing anything.
I wonder if now I'm curious to see what is going on. Either he's declined, because usually you're not supposed to decline press conferences because I think that warrants a fine. But it's really interesting where I'm curious to see where Scott Service is right now. Like I wonder if they pulled the plug.
That'd be interesting. Any more comments we got?
Yeah, why don't you go fish for them? And I'm going to see if there's other fans that may want to come on, because we do have quite a bit of an audience, and I'm allowing anyone to say whatever they need to say about the Mariners. And even if there's someone that says, "I love Scott Service, I defend him to death, he should get a chance to end Smith's season," you know what? Fine. I want to hear it. I'm okay with anything. I ain't going to block. Oh, I love this one. Flick of the switch, Scott's crying in the bathroom. Maybe.
Possibly. Or he's on a plane bound for Japan to coach a new team.
If he even gets one. But yeah, I'm looking at the post game. I'm like rewinding things, and there's nothing on Scott.
Maybe I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I think we would know right now, breaking news wise, if he had been fired immediately after the game, but it's potential that they told him not to do a press conference.
Yeah, I'm tweeting it out to see maybe if someone replies to it, but it says, yeah, Scott Service. I'm saying, where is Scott Service? I don't see him doing a press conference, and he's not really anywhere, but there's a lot of speculations, at least. Like, this one says, will Scott be fired tomorrow? Mariners Muse says, I think this is a great question. I actually think so. Question mark. This road trip was the most helpless it's been in 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty spot on with that one.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. This guy Chris, I think he was also on our YouTube saying we will riot if Scott isn't fired. I know he doesn't mean that, but that is hilarious to say.
What's sad about that is you're seeing what's happening down in Oakland with the A's. I mean, now they're obviously officially moving, and how much that city tried to stop it and do a bunch of stuff. Like it wouldn't matter. The Mariners ownership's not going to change it.
Gamer 11, how are you doing today? I thought I'd let you win the show.
How are we doing, gentlemen? Just 64-64 after a 20-game lead, and I'm frustrated tonight. So nice to be able to air these grievances out here.
That's why I came on the show at the last minute. Like, just about an hour ago, I was literally taking a nap because I was thinking, I know I said this earlier, but I was thinking, I'll just come in the last 3 innings, blah, blah. And then I wake up and I see 8-1, and I was pondering, I was still like thinking about coming up. Here I am to provide a place for everyone to say whatever they need to say to get it out of their systems, because there are some other people that won't even allow it, because you say anything to disagree, you might get blocked out. But yeah, what do you got to say, Gamer?
About service. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read Ryan Divish's story today, but he quoted what DePoto said in Ken Rosenthal's article. And basically what DePoto said, I think today or yesterday, something like that. He said, everything's on the table right now with the team struggling. And Service said, I think today or yesterday, that he's just trying to focus on the game. And, it seemed like it was that kind of reaction behavior. Seems like it's a real threat. So it's my prediction. I think he's gone. I think he's been axed. And it's going to be tomorrow morning's news.
Which is, I mean, it could be possible, because when I was still watching the Root Sports, because usually Scott Service would have been on by now, but he's not. Like, he is nowhere to be seen. I even rewinded, did I miss something? And there is no Scott Service. The last time we saw Scott Service's face was when they saw his reaction after the game. So I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe they won't announce it now, but maybe tomorrow phones may explode. But anything, other thoughts that you got from the road trip, things to look forward to or not look forward to? Because the only glimmer of hope the Mariners have is, yes, they still have a favorable schedule and the Astros don't. That's literally the Mariners' only cards they have to play. Actually, one card.
I know you get a lot of flack for being negative. I certainly do with my buddies as well, who are Mariners fans, haven't been with this team since 2009. I'm not keeping up with it that much. I didn't feel great, in mid-June when they were 10-15 up. I haven't watched a lot of it. And yeah, I mean, I don't see how things are just going to magically turn around at this point with the offense. There needs to be a coaching change, and I think they're starting to come to that epiphany. Because right now the guys, they're just not getting it done. Whoever's, obviously the offense isn't getting it done, but whoever's coaching, they're not doing anything to help either. So, I mean, it was nice, when they had Lou Piniella. I know you're big on Lou Piniella. He had a huge on all those great hitters that the Mariners had during that time. I don't think Service has that knowledge or any of those guys, and I don't even know who their hitting coach is, to be honest.
I don't either. I mean, they had an offensive coordinator, but what was he useful for? There was a reason he got rid of him quickly.
Yeah, no clue. I know we don't have a hitting coach. I know there's an organizational working thing, but as far as it says, we don't have a true hitting coach, which, I mean, that could be part of the problem as well.
I mean, I remember when the Mariners offense was playing in around the Edgar Martinez era, they were actually I think they were at least consistently a top 15 team. Like, they certainly weren't like what they are now. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I hope you're right though with Scott being canned. I mean, I'm hoping that is. I have seen the articles. It's just my faith in Dipoto is so little. I could see Dipoto just being like, oh well, it's just a bad game, guys. Let's get him tomorrow, Scott.
As long as we win 54% of our games, we are doing the fans a favor.
There you go. That's Jerry right there, regardless if he misquoted or not. That is what came out of his mouth. And I'll never forget when I saw he said that, and I lost it. I was like, you should have been fired immediately. There should have been no press conference when that statement came out.
What was really bizarre about that, because usually the Mariners would come out with, like last year in 22, they come out with that whole hour-long press conference with Jerry, Justin, and Scott. And then 23, they didn't even upload that because I think they were just so embarrassed what he even said, and they didn't want to deal with all the comments. Like, they didn't even want to like disable the comments. That's how much they didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, Gamer, do you got anything else to add?
Well,
I mean, you did add a lot of good things.
Well, going back to the A-Rod conversation, you know how much of an A-Rod fan I am. My favorite.
Seems like we all are. I mean, I'll show you how much of a fan I am of this. Alex Rodriguez action figure with the Mariners, never been opened.
Okay, I'm gonna one up you real quick.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this bidding war. But yep, until then, Alex Rodriguez as a Mariner. I think this was the 2000 edition, which would make sense because it has.
That's really cool that you got that.
Yeah, I bought it at a market. What you got?
I used to be really into jersey collecting. I'm not so much anymore, but this is the only remaining piece of my collection here. It's a 2000.
Oh, the 2000. Please tell me it's the one with the Seattle in front. Oh, that's not that one.
The BP jersey.
Got it.
I got a blank blue jersey, and I sent this to a guy in Pennsylvania and had it built.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to dig out my box at my parents' house and sometime come on a show and show you. But I have a A-Rod signed bat. I have a plaque with A-Rod's thing on it. I have a ball signed by A-Rod. And then 2 years ago, actually for the All-Star game last year, I was working it because I do the pyro in Seattle. Anyways, I got to actually talk with A-Rod and some of the other guys backstage before they went out. And so I got another All-Star game ball signed from him. So again, he's been my favorite player my entire life. So it's just what we do as A-Rod fans. But I don't know, that action figure is kind of cool. I haven't seen one with the Mariners on it.
It's really rare. I'm pretty sure it's also 2000 because it has Luis Gonzalez as a Diamondback. I mean, yeah. And then Sammy Sosa, 2000, Jim Edmonds, Jorge Posada, Mike Sweeney in his prime. But they have Jim Thome as a Philly, so this one's kind of a bit off.
I was going to say, I have the 2002 A-Rod Texas, one of those.
Oh, yeah. A-Rod Texas was a whole different animal back then.
He was good.
His numbers were absurd, but his most absurd numbers he ever did was 2000 with a +10 wins above replacement, and he never did that ever in any other years.
No. Let me question at you guys. Obviously, he went on Brock and Salk. I think it's pretty clear he has the Pacific Northwest has a special place in his heart. Do you think the Mariners organization will ever come to terms with that, bring him back? Where do
I don't see it happening.
No, which hurts me because I think he would be the next one in line for the Mariners Hall of Fame. But I don't see it happening, even though he was trying to buy the Timberwolves and then move them to Seattle to bring back the Sonics. I mean, the Mariners have made him into a villain, and I think they want to keep him there. And I don't think that anyone in ownership has the guts to say, hey, we forgive you, or not forgive you, but will you forgive us for doing you dirty and making you out to be this villain? And also, I mean, just I know Griffey has beef with him from some stories back in the late 90s before Griffey left. I know Jay didn't like him either, so I don't know that at least as far as the Mariners Hall of Fame organization would go, that they would support him.
I can see Lou Piniella would support it because he loved A-Rod and still does.
Edgar does.
Edgar Martinez wouldn't be opposed, I think, because they were the two biggest teachers in his career. And even A-Rod admitted that he wished he had 5 more years with the Mariners so he could still play with Edgar Martinez and Lou Piniella if Lou Piniella was around longer.
Yeah, well, I mean, he might have been if we had kept A-Rod, because 01 may have been a different story.
Yeah. Could have had A-Rod and maybe Brett Boone.
That would have been insane.
And then beat the Yankees. Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole ordeal is I think the Mariners lowballed him. I think he had like the $60 million offer at the end of '98. And
he said no to that really quickly. But to be fair, his boss was, his agent was Scott Boras, and Scott Boras will never allow in-housed extensions.
No, and I think he played a bad part in the whole A-Rod deal, Boras did. But at the same time, we weren't going to give him what he needed money-wise, and that's just...
The best that they offered was a 5-year 95 with a player option, a team option after 2002, and he would have been insane to take that contract extension. And there was a book also where I think Lou Piniella, Pat Gillick were there, and I guess even Howard Lincoln was there, even though there's mixed reports that he was possibly in Hawaii. Scott Boras came in the room and said, "What's your offer?" And they kind of like stuttered, like, "Well, we're going to offer this." "Okay, thank you. Bye." You're not even close.
Right here.
Yeah.
I have the Lou Piniella book. I got a lot of information out of that. And the interesting thing was A-Rod actually called Lou Piniella and said that, "Hey, I'm taking a deal with Texas. I just want to say I love you. I thank you. It was a tough decision." I still thought it was strange how it still happened. Like the one thing I wished A-Rod said when it was in the Brock and Sock, I wish I was actually waiting for some more of like what really happened in those negotiations, because when he was asked, he was like, "Oh, well, I mean, anyone would take that contract. There's nothing against Seattle, no hard feelings," but he just didn't go deep into what really went down, because we're never going to know his side of the story because he never expressed it. But we've heard Scott Boras' side of the story. We've heard Lou Piniella's side. We've heard other reporters. Peter Gammons of ESPN was actually possibly alleged that Howard Lincoln and Chuck Armstrong were vacationing in Hawaii during the whole free agency sweepstakes. A lot of mixed reports.
Yeah. I think he didn't want to knock the organization because I think he really does want to come back, and he's trying to bridge that relationship. That's my prediction. So he probably could have gone into specifics and thrown a lot of dirt on the Mariners, but that just wasn't his motive. I think he was just, trying to do something positive. But a thought I want to throw out, I think the only time I've seen the Mariners post anything on Instagram or whatever with A-Rod in it was when Kyle Seager passed him on the home run list. And it was like Kyle Seager moves into 5th place on the Mariners home run list. That was the only time.
At least they showed A-Rod in there, I guess, for a little bit, but you never see him with any nostalgia. And if you've noticed, the 2000 Mariners run gets close to no attention because I think it has something to do with A-Rod on the team, because he had a huge part of that. But so did Edgar Martinez. So did Jay Buhner. So did Freddie Garcia, Carlos Guillen. Shouldn't they get the piece of the attention too?
No, they have a 01 for that, remember?
True, but 2000 was actually closer to the World Series than 2001 was, and it wasn't even close.
2000 was a great team that gets overlooked. Edgar actually had the best home run and
37 home runs, 145 RBIs.
That one.
A-Rod had a somewhat career year. What else was John Olerud, Ricky Henderson?
Yeah, well, so that's the other thing I was actually going to bring up to you someday, but not tonight. But I guess we'll talk about it tonight. Ricky came here, and people say he didn't do much. That man stole 40 bags at the age of 42 for us. Now,
362 OBP.
You look at Julio Rodriguez and show me where he's stolen anywhere near close to 40 bags. See, that upsets me. It's like
I never spat my water for that.
A 40-year-old Ricky Henderson can put up 40 bags, but you're telling me that Julio can't? There's something wrong here.
Oh, I mean, look at this. I mean, I looked at the batting average comparing to 2010 and now, because 2010 was considered the worst offense in history, and batting average wise, they're still outplaying them. The only thing that the 24 Mariners have is their runs, but it's only because they can sometimes hit bombs once in a while.
They have more. They actually have better players on this 2024 team than 2010. I'm trying to think of who even was on there. I think we had Goody. I think that was like his first year here.
Yeah, Gutierrez. Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr.
I don't think
on his last days.
Yeah, I don't think Branyan was here anymore.
He was. He came in the second half of the season.
Gotcha.
No, yeah, good times. And I mean, I was thinking, like, is there anything else we can say about the team going forward? I mean, I think we pretty much kicked a dead horse on this team. I think what it really comes down to is what is going to happen with Scott Service tomorrow, because no press conference, doesn't answer questions. It's almost like they're like, yep, we're just going on the plane. We're getting the heck out of here. But it's usually unusual when a manager is not being called to his press conference, because he's usually doing that every single game. Granted, he would have said the same thing, like, oh yeah, things didn't go our way, it happens, we'll turn it around. He said that like only too many other times.
A comment that I just want to bring up, because I was looking through the comments, which I like Raul Ibanez. Kevin said, let Raul be our manager. And that would be cool. I don't know if Raul can actually manage. I know
I don't think he can. And he didn't really lead much in 2008, but I actually met Raul Ibanez before.
He's a nice guy.
Actually, when I met him, he was one stiff guy. He was like
really?
He was like super uptight. Like, I was like trying to help. I was working at Best Buy at the time, and when I greeted Raul Ibanez, I wasn't even trying to say, "Hey, it's Raul." I was like, "Hey, are you doing all right?" And he like immediately snapped the question, and he wanted it like right there. And I was like, "Dang, man!" That had to be Raul, because he was like bald and he looked, I don't know, something. He was definitely not in the right mood to be at the score.
I met him at the All-Star game with Beltray, and Raul was, maybe it was just the timing. He was relaxed, but he was pretty nice. But I don't know if he would be a good manager. But honestly, I'm willing to take the Raul Ibanez managerial experience if it means Scott's gone at this point.
A youth select team in Bellevue for a while. I don't know if he still does that. The Bellevue Dragons or something like that.
Yep. I think that he still has ties to it, but I don't think he runs it. I think his brother-in-law or someone runs it. I coach Prospect U over on the, west side of Washington, so it's fun.
Joey Cora as a manager. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a reason why he's a third base coach still. And the guy really did put on the donuts on himself. He really did. Like, when I saw him, I was like, wait, that's Joey Cora? No way.
Yeah,
that guy was
Cora,
fit.
As Rick Riz said, is a comment that no longer fits Joey Cora.
No.
Who is he base coaching for now, though, still?
I think it was either the Pirates or the Tigers. Let me take a look.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Joe Madden's our best bet for a manager. I'm trying to think.
I wouldn't like Eric Wedge back. Yeah, I know.
Eric Wedge actually would do good, but the guy, he got burned out from the Mariners because he was working with literally nothing. Like, he had literally nothing. Like, at one point, his entire outfield core were guys that should be first base.
Yeah, I really liked Lloyd McClendon's fire. I wasn't a fan of his managerial,
he was basically Scott Service, but with the charisma.
Yeah. Kind of, but at least he had a little bit of Lou in him. Like, he got heated sometimes, and it was fun to see it.
Yeah, 2001 Pirates, when he takes the first base and slams it into the dugout. That was classic. And then when that poor little grounds crew took the base back and put it back, got the boo.
It's that guy, yeah.
Joey Cora's on the Tigers, by the way.
I got you, Tigers. Yeah, I would say that we could get. I just don't like Dusty Baker because how he stood up for the Astros. That's a personal opinion. Maybe he could turn around the organization. I don't know. We need a manager who's willing to give us at least 3 years to build something, to find something else. That's what we need, if not more. And I don't know that there's any out there right now. And as far as us, if we fire Service, we can always bring up the Rainiers manager who just won his thousandth game managing 2 nights ago.
Who's the Rainiers manager?
I don't know, but he won his 1000th game. I saw on a post 2 days ago or yesterday. So that was pretty cool to see.
I remember they brought up Darren Brown, I think in like 2010 after they fired Wakamatsu.
Yeah.
Maybe that again.
They could bring up what's his face? Dave Valley. He was managing the single A team for a while.
Nah, keep him in the media. Sorry. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Oh, the only thing that scares me about Madden. Okay, here let's break this down with the whole Angels thing. I don't think the whole Angels disaster was necessarily his fault, and if anything, he was actually keeping the Angels afloat. And there was actually a point where they actually were kind of competing. I mean, when you work with a guy named Artie Moreno, what do you expect?
Well, I mean, to bring in also that you could say that you shouldn't be scared. Look at Ron Washington is a good manager. He is not bad. And what he's having to deal with what the Angels have given him is another example of the Angels masterclass to destroy a manager's reputation with that garbage dump of an organization. I mean, yes, the A's have the worst ownership, but the Angels might actually have the worst ownership /
organization as a whole.
Yeah, it's just you go to Anaheim to die. That's what I'm seeing.
I heard the minor league experience isn't exactly great either.
No, I didn't even want to touch on that, but I've heard some funny stories about that.
It's pretty bad. I mean, at least the A's, they at least know how to build a farm system. That's the one thing they do have.
If you really look at it after 2014, if the A's, even the last 4 years, if the A's had kept certain people like Chapman and stuff, the A's would have a World Series contending team right now if they had paid. They had Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, and I'm forgetting the pitchers' names, but they had a bunch of good pitchers. Bassett, when he was in his prime, was really, really good. And I mean, it's crazy.
I hate to say it, but I actually do like it when the A's are actually good because it's actually fun, and I think it's good for baseball. We get to see an underdog team, even though it comes at the expense of the Mariners, like 2002, the Moneyball year. That came at the expense of the Seattle Mariners falling apart.
Hey, but I mean, I love to see the A's do good. My dad grew up in the Bay, so he was there a kid when they won the 3 World Series in a row. But I mean, what I think a lot of people forget is how good the A's as an organization has been. The A's are no chumps. I mean, yeah, they haven't been good recently in a while, but I mean, 89, 90, they were a great team. Actually, 88, 89, and 90, they should have gone three-peat there too. They blew it against the Dodgers, and then that team that Pete Rose actually built, that Lou Piniella managed, the 90 Reds, they got him, but that A's team should have beaten them. So,
but going way back, I think they have 9 rings.
Yeah, they do have 9 rings.
Philadelphia A's. It goes back to Philadelphia A's under the legendary Connie Mack. And how do I know that? Because I had some World Series book that it was a present I got when I was for my 5th grade graduation. It was this World Series book showing everything from 1903 to 2002. And I saw when I kept flipping the pages like Philadelphia A's won, Philadelphia A's won, Connie Mack, Connie Mack, Connie Mack. And of course, you had the Reggie Jackson A's of the 70s. Yeah, that was like
three-peat. They were insane. Burt Kemp.
Crazy thing is that the 70s was actually 60s and 70s was arguably the prime time for the whole entire city of Oakland. It was actually not a disastrous city back then, along with a great baseball team.
They had the Oakland Raiders, which were arguably the toughest team to play in the NFL in the 60s. You didn't
John Madden, Oakland Raiders. Don't mess with that.
Nope.
I'm sure you guys can relate. My heart goes out to the A's fans that are going through it right now.
I mean, my grandma still lives down there, and like I've been to the Bay, and what's going on there is disastrous, and I'm still upset that Major League Baseball had a chance to force Fisher to sell, and they didn't do it. And I honestly think the A's are going to go to Vegas, and they're going to have a season. They're not going to compete. People in Vegas are going to get tired of the losing, and Fisher's still not going to spend. I mean, he's trying to get Vegas to pay for most of that stadium, so he's still trying to be super cheap. And ultimately, I could see in the next 5-6 years, not saying they're going back to Oakland, but if the A's don't do it and Vegas charges too much for that stadium, you never know. The A's could go back to Oakland and they may have to build them a new stadium.
I think the plan B right now is John Fisher possibly, I think, selling his team to, I may be wrong, and I got to talk to some Oakland people, which I might have some connections with, but he is really good friends with Kings owner Vivek Ramadeve, and maybe there's a possibility because Ramadeve wants a baseball team in Sacramento. I mean, it's proven because he's got a baseball team now in Sacramento for at least 3 years. So maybe they're going to experiment that to see if that works.
I don't think. I mean, I already disagree with the Kings being in Sacramento. I don't see the market being there as much, at least for a baseball team in Sacramento.
I went to Sacramento, and because I have family that live in Sacramento, my cousins live there, my grandma and grandpa, and every time I visit there, I always see new homes going up, and I see quite a bit of listings there when I look at the Redfin, and a lot of people are moving to Sacramento because who in the world wants to spend $2 to $3 million on a freaking Rambler in freaking San Francisco / San Jose and Oakland? Who in the world wants to do that? Nah, they'll go to Sacramento and save money. So
yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they will, and that would be cool. Sacramento. I mean, I still think they should not be changing the name to Sacramento A's because that just looked disgusting to me. But
it would.
I mean, you could just at least call them the Oakland A's. I mean, that's the same thing with the San Francisco 49ers. They're playing Santa Clara now. They're not even in San Fran. So
yeah,
I mean,
San Jose and like San Francisco, they're like totally different languages.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I've been to both of them. Totally different.
Yeah, I've been down there quite a bit recently, but yeah, I mean, just I don't know. The A's fans got messed up pretty bad, and also those are the same fans that got screwed by the Raiders. I mean, Mark Davis did Oakland dirty. They could have gotten a new stadium, and he's like, "No, we're going to Vegas." And
like father like son, Al Davis, same thing. He went to the Los Angeles.
Yeah, but you saw what happened with him. He returned with his tail between his legs, and he's like, "Gotta come back to Oakland.
Gotta come back to Oakland and build me Mount Davis, and I'll come back." And they gave him Mount Davis, and that screwed over the A's because if anyone sees a picture of the Oakland Stadium before the renovations, it was actually
nice.
It was a gorgeous stadium. My dad told me he went there several times, and he said as much as he said he hated the A's because he was a Giants fan, he loved going to Oakland A's games.
It was way better than Candlestick, the original A's Park. And then
Candlestick is ugly, but
yeah, when they rebuilt the thing for the Raiders, it really ruined the thing. I went to the Coliseum this year. I went to an A's game just because I wanted to have that nostalgic feel one more time, and there's no words to describe how bad it really is going down to the
it's trash.
Like it's garbage. It's unsafe. The area is not great. I mean, it's bad.
It's bad. Hey, Gamer 11, I think you had something to say.
Yeah, so I know in Sacramento, I think they have like that baseball stadium that they were going to build next to Arco Arena. Maybe they could get back on that development. That could be a new home.
Yeah, they broke ground on that because they tried to do it after the 80s because they saw after the Raiders left Oakland, Sacramento was like, oh, maybe we can spring over the Oakland A's. They tried to, it just didn't work out. But I do think Sacramento is in some ways an undervalued city because I think everyone's moving there. It's a lot cheaper. I see houses building up. It's actually okay, as long as you don't go to downtown Sacramento, everything around it is at least okay. That's all I'm going to say. It's at least not disastrous. It's not Oakland levels. I'll tell you that, but Oakland kind of set the low standard anyway, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I mean, to get back on the Mariners train, just since
which we should.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day, depending on what went down tonight with Scott Service and everything. But I don't know. I'm just even team leadership. I question because we have guys here. Someone needs to step up in that clubhouse, and I don't think they've had that heart to heart with what do we want out of the season. Do we want to kind of sputter here to the end? And I'm not saying they need to like turn around and start winning every game, but I would really love to see some more heart because I mean, going up in these at bats and swinging at every stupid thing, trying to hit the jack to give us a home run. I could care less if we hit 0 home runs the rest of the season and we won games by just singles, doubles, just the normal hits. And I don't think there's anyone in that clubhouse, in my opinion, that has the leadership to do it. I think Julio's too young and he gets a bit too emotional. I think Cal could, but I don't know if Cal Raleigh is that kind of guy. Now, he called out ownership. He did call out ownership and did not get traded away, which that was a big surprise to me. But, Yeah, I just
They seem to have punished Cal Raleigh by saying, "Oh, you're going to say that about the team? All right, cool. We're going to trade away all your friends."
Yeah, I think that might be also what happened.
And I think they threatened to trade him too. That's why they made him apologize like literally 12 hours later. And
Yeah,
even Scott Service was like, he was basically saying he needs to do some soul searching.
Yeah, which I think is funny because the only soul searching that needs to happen is Scott Service on why he's managing and how he got this job. Because I mean, there's a reason he hasn't been a manager before the Mariners, at least in the major leagues, because he's a proven that he's not going to win.
He was only yeah. Go ahead.
Another one we could get is Jim Leland. I know he got his retirement ceremony from the Tigers, but I know that he said he hasn't pushed baseball out of the way yet. Or a great one, I don't know if we could get him from Texas, but Bruce Bochy would be amazing to have here in Seattle.
But he loves Texas, and Texas loves him.
I don't
can
blame
spring
him.
him over.
He showed up.
Jim Leland, I would like because he was not afraid to stand up to Barry Bonds because Barry Bonds was acting like a 3-year-old in '91 because he was yelling at a cameraman, and Jim Leland's like, no, you don't do that and don't mess with me. And even Barry Bonds was like, yep, he put me in my place.
Hey, man, anyone who can put Barry Bonds in any sort of thing is something. Barry Bonds is a funny topic. My cousin pitched in the major leagues for the Giants, and actually was teammates with Barry Bonds. But I've heard a lot of stories about Bonds, and I'm not a Bonds fan by any means. I think he was a generational talent and amazing, but apparently he was the biggest douchebag on the team. He had his own jet. He'd fly in. He had his own locker space. He did not hang out with the team at all.
Look at Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent was done with him.
Yeah, he straight up said, he's like, dude, if you talk to Barry and it was a bad day, he said, Barry Bonds would just treat you like the lowest of the low. And I'm just sitting there going, no wonder those Giants teams never won except 2002. And then they got humiliated by the Angels. I still
and the Marlins next year to old Pudge Rodriguez.
Old Pudge Rodriguez showed up, and yeah, that was bad.
Oh man. But yeah, Jim Leland would be interesting. I mean, if the White Sox got Tony La Russa out of retirement, then anything's possible. But the problem is the Mariners ownership will not take on a personality like that. No, they got their feelings hurt by Lou Piniella.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. They're not going to take on a Tony. They're not going to take on a Leland. I don't even think they take on a Dusty Baker or Bruce Bochy. I think they like guys who are not fiery. And it's another thing. I mean, heck, if Lou Piniella would come back, he could sit in a wheelchair in the dugout, and I'd gladly take Lou's leadership.
He lost a lot of weight, so he is much more healthy.
I didn't mean like that. I just mean he is older. And
yeah, true.
I mean, I would take it. It's just I don't think the Mariners want another, not that Lloyd was that great, but they did not like the way he handled and flew off the collar that much. And I know that and as you've put in your videos and stuff, they did not like how much Lou pushed him and called him out. And I don't think they ever, at least Stanton's never going to go through that again. He's never going to put himself in a place to have somebody question his ownership abilities.
Well, don't forget Howard Lincoln and former CEO John Ellis of the 90s. They are still on the team as board members. When we thought that sale happened, we thought that was going to be end of Howard Lincoln and John Ellis. But then when I looked up the organization, I was like, Howard Lincoln, John Ellis. Dang it!
Yeah,
they're still on the team.
We were really fooled there by the Seattle Mariners. They said, "Oh, we're selling," so these guys are gotten. Nope, they're not.
Nope, we're just changing names. We're just transferring things because I guess the Nintendo of America, I guess the owner of Nintendo, their kids just didn't want to deal with it. They were like,
which is sad because Nintendo, that was pretty cool. We literally had Nintendo with the Seattle Mariners. That's a big reason we swung Ichiro too. Yeah,
Ichiro, man. Do you think if Nintendo was majority ownership, do you think they would have had more hand in getting Shohei Ohtani? When Jerry DiPoto had his chance and he freaking choked it.
I truthfully do believe if Nintendo was here, we would have probably landed Ohtani just because we had more than just Ichiro going for us. We had the Nintendo thing. People in Japan would have gone absolutely wild. They would have been able to market the Nintendo and put Shohei and stuff. And it's just, It's a nice dream, but even having Shohei here, I'm glad we don't, especially with the scandal and stuff. Because I mean, I don't know what's going to come out in more years, but for all I know, he could get suspended next year. I mean, I'm not saying that will be, but I mean, if it ever comes out that he really did, that is. And Brett Boone, that comment
That would be an interesting idea, but Brett Boone is buried in his podcast life, so I think he's good.
Did you watch the Celebrity All-Star game when they came back and played softball? Were you there?
He hit a home run, but there's one thing he didn't do.
And that man hit nukes.
But there's one thing he didn't do. He didn't do the bat flip.
No, he didn't. But I mean,
that's what I needed.
But man, he hit 2 of those, and man, when he hit those balls, I'm like, wow, honestly, Brett Boone would be a better DH than anything we had last season.
Oh my god!
Bring Booney back. It's just, I just don't think even if he didn't want a podcast, I don't think he would be the managerial type. I think he was a good player. I don't know that he would. And I mean, if he's anything like his brother, I don't want it, because Aaron Boone's the biggest buffoon in baseball. I mean, that Yankees team should not be getting eliminated in the first round every year, or by the Astros, because
because it's Aaron freaking Boone. I mean, if Brett Boone had a role, I think he would at best be a hitter's coach, but that's about it.
Yeah, but see, I don't know that he has some talent, but I don't know how much of the roids helped his performance there. I mean, when he was on him, he put up.
He was at least natural on defense.
Yeah, he was a good defender, but I mean,
deliver my final. Gotta head out soon.
All good.
I don't have high expectations for the rest of the year. I don't have my hopes up. It would be a very pleasant surprise if they can turn the ship around. And the baseball fans in the Northwest deserve that. They deserve better. They deserve good baseball. Hopefully that comes, but those are my 2 cents. Thank you for having me on, Rooftop. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Gamer11, for coming on. And thank you for being a big supporter of this channel.
I appreciate what.
Thanks, man. Nice to meet you.
Have a good night, man.
So, did you see the Portland comment before you end your thing?
I did. I've been to Portland. Knowing the reputation Portland has, and I have friends that live in Portland, even they say, if I ask them about if they think that they could get a baseball team, even they would admit probably not.
So we do, I also do Pyro. We also have the Thorns and the Timbers, so we go down to Portland and do those. And I've talked to people, because, the park down there was a baseball stadium originally where they play at Providence. They have the hops out there in Hillsborough. I mean, you really look at it, I don't know where in the city they'd build it. They'd have to demolish a lot of the city to put one in. And truthfully, they are a soccer city, but I mean, you look at the hops attendance and everything, and they don't draw in enough. And that close to Seattle, are you really going to have the market? Are you going to be able to compete? Now, I actually agree with you now that the more you say about Sacramento, because it has grown up a lot recently, but it's more, do you really, if they get the baseball team, at that point, does a football team try to go, Sacramento isn't a horrible place to live. Like, does it bring in other things? And
I don't think football will do, because Vegas, the Raiders are already chilling in Vegas. They love it there now. They finally got the stadium that they longed for.
The Browns have been wanting to win. Maybe they go to Sacramento and start to win.
They're trying to get a new stadium, and it still says it's not approved yet. So who knows?
Who knows?
But Sacramento, I can still see it, because it's growing. And I mean, if anyone that lives in California, they love California, that they just can't let it go, Sacramento is their last bit of hope to feel any kind of California vibe. That's pretty much it. But when I go to Sacramento, I don't feel like I'm in California. I still feel like I'm in the middle of the South somewhere.
You drive anywhere, and then you go through the tunnel to get into Oakland. And once you cross over the Oakland side, it's a completely different animal than that other side when you're through the tunnel on I can't.
The bridge, I went to Sacramento. I went to San Francisco and Oakland all in one day. Oh my God, there's a huge difference. So you probably went through
Vallejo and all that. I mean, crossing the bridge, going through the tunnel, whatever, coming through Oakland, getting into San Fran, it's a different animal over there, which, I don't know if you ever heard of Candlestick. Candlestick was a dump. Now, the new place where they play, the Giants play, Oracle, Wonderful stadium, beautiful stadium. I can't say enough good about it. I really do love it. Parking's garbage, but it is what it is. But just to get back to, I guess, as we're talking about the Mariners, we've covered a lot of topics tonight, not all of them just strictly Mariners, but I don't see it. And I mean, we'll see what you cover for the next series, and maybe we'll get some wins. But if it truthfully is that Scott gets fired tomorrow, I am kind of worried about that, because who's going to step up in the interim, and we still have bad coaching. So is it going to get worse to the point where maybe Scott was holding this team at least an above garbage, barely competing vibe? Or is it that it's going to turn all the way around and we'll be able to win some ball games and make an interesting run at the end of the season? That's what I'm curious about.
It is a good point, like, because you don't see Pete Woodworth leaving his pitching spot, but I have been curious to see what he can do. But the question is he still going to be another Scott Service just like everyone else? Yeah. Because who knows?
And, his pitching, I mean, this is going to sound bad. His starters have had a great season. I don't know that they'll ever have as good as the season as they are doing this year. It's the bullpen for me, how it started out strong and it held together last year. But truthfully, I'm not impressed, or I don't have confidence in our bullpen. I don't have a guy that you could run out there every night that I think would be amazing. Because, that Munoz is probably the most consistent, and he has problems.
He does. What do you think the Astros record will be in the next 3 series, Mariners aside? I don't know. I can't even say anymore, because Houston is just, other than losing to Boston, they have been on fire, and this is without Kyle Tucker. And I actually thought without Kyle Tucker, I was like, it's not like Houston should be that difficult to compete against, but they are still very difficult to compete against.
I mean, this is going to sound so bad. They could win one game every series for the next month, and there's still going to be enough games ahead of the Mariners to win the division. It's just the Rangers.
Just like last year, they were literally limping into the playoffs last year. What is the
exact standings right now? You should read them off real quick, because I'll give you the exact thing, because I don't remember exactly what's
Let's take a look for sure. And I think we shall get rolling, because I think a lot of people are going to sleep. Like, it's crazy to think that this live stream has been going just as long as a quick Mariners game. But now we're going to the standings. We got the Houston Astros at 68 and 58. Oh my God. Mariners at 64 and 64, 5 games back. Texas at 59 and 69. Texas season's pretty much over, but you have to assume that they're going to rebound next year. They've just been completely banged up.
Yep.
Oakland 54 and 73. You have to assume also that they're maybe going to be able to compete a better next year if they keep their core, which I don't know if they will. Angels are about the same. And now to the wild card, just to make it more painful, 7.5 games out of the wild card.
So we have a better shot at winning the division than competing the wild
card. And it gets worse. Tampa Bay sold at the deadline, and they're still ahead of the Mariners.
You know who's upset about that? Randy Arozarena.
Oh!
He's gonna watch his team make the playoffs and watch the Mariners sell him out.
Where did we get JT Chargois from?
That might also be Tampa Bay.
I think so.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh no. That trade deadline was supposed to it was Miami, but still.
Oh, okay, still don't matter.
But that trade deadline, I gave it a B for a reason, and I think my reasons are validated, because they needed that one more bat. And you know what the scary thing is? I don't even know if Vlad Guerrero Jr. would have saved this team anyway, because he probably would have fed off on bad coaching too, for whatever reason, because Justin Turner and Randy Arozarena are listening to these guys. And if I were them, the advice I gave them was just hit for yourself. Just do whatever you need to do. Do not listen to these guys.
Justin Turner's going to be gone, but I really do like Arozarena. I think he has a great upside for the future, but if he keeps listening like this, like he came over, I'm like, good, a guy who can hit. And I mean, this is weird, but because I play fantasy baseball, he's on my team. Watching his decline the last 2 weeks has been the most upsetting thing in my life. I'm sitting here going, can you go back? Can we trade you back? Like, you can't hit here.
Oh man, he can't hit in Seattle. No,
it's coaching. And we can beat the dead horse until the horse is literally 10 feet under. But we need a hitting coach. We need a structured hitting program. We need a manager who knows how to manage the game. We'll stop playing analytical ball and start managing. Sure, you can play some situations, but truthfully, if the pitcher is hot, let him go. If he gets burned because a lefty hits the righty, so what? But bringing in that lefty or righty, it's just not gonna happen.
No, probably not. And the only thing I'm looking forward to is doing my Mariners talk show with our friend Steve tomorrow morning at 6:30. And the only reason I got to do it at 6:30 in the morning is only because I work at 8:30, so I had to squeeze in some kind of time. And luckily, he lives in Michigan, so that means he would start at 9:30. So it kind of works for us. I have the energy to do it, and he has the time to do it, so it's gonna work. But the worst part of that is doing a show that early. We're probably still not going to get an announcement out of Scott Service.
Oh no, you're gonna wake up, and maybe towards the end of the show you'll get one, but. It could be anything. I think we would have heard some rumoring somewhere about a possible firing. I'm not going to read too much into it. It could be that he just didn't want to talk. But yeah, it's just, but why now? Like, I would have fired him. If this is the last straw, I would have fired him in Pittsburgh before this entire, right before the Pittsburgh series, so that you would have had something to salvage. That's 6 games we could have won right there that we definitely blew.
And actually, while you were saying stuff, I found something from Ryan Divish, so maybe not going to be much at all, but here it is. Oh, well, there's a message between Jay Trident Podcast, and I was just telling him how much of a day I was having. Service had a team meeting after the game instructing players to clear their heads on the off day and get away from baseball. So he started his media session later than usual. Apparently, Root ended the post game while we were still interviewing him based on text messages. They had a guy there filming it. Huh? So they're still not going to fire him.
No, it looks like they're not. And
they're still going to ride the ship.
But you're telling me that he told the players to get away from baseball? What? I don't think they can get much further away than they are playing right now.
This is a horrible idea. This is what a manager should be doing. They should be having practice on Thursday, on the day off. Like, you lose your day off. No, none of this. Oh, mental health. No.
Yeah,
no day off.
I wouldn't even be anything, but everybody would be in the cage and on the field, live at bats. I'd have whoever the pitcher is that went 2 days ago that's not going to be facing in the next 3 days. I'd have him throw all your pitchers. I'd have throw, except for the guy who's going to throw obviously the next day. Throw max 30 pitches so they saw live at bats and work through situation hitting. I would do that for the entirety. I do it for 12 hours. I wouldn't give a crap because it's just an atrocious thing that's going on. Or throw all your bullpens, since Scott apparently likes to throw them anyways without rest. You might as well just throw them all day.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna quote that tweet and just put skull emojis. That's all I'm gonna do. I think that is the most appropriate reaction.
I mean, it's just crazy that came out now. I saw this hilarious meme from one of the Mariners pages, and I can't remember, but it was today. And it was like a thing coming out. It was about how Scott Service was caught sports betting against the Mariners pit. And I was like, man, if that did come out, though, he's throwing every single series trying to make it so that they're not going to win. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Remember when the Mariners win the series, and then the third game, you see a half-ass lineup?
Yeah. I if it comes out that he really was, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, you win in series and then he'd still roll out some weird squat. Like, why is Dylan Moore batting in the 4-hole? What is this stuff going on? Like,
at this point, and I think this is gonna be my closing.
Yeah.
once the roster expands like in September, it's not like they're going to expand that much, because they don't have the 40-man roster, but I think they should. But I know that why they got rid of it, because of cost reasons, because you got to pay minor league players major league money, actually. They got to put up Cole Young. I'm going to say, I don't care about service time. They got to give him a shot. What do we got to lose? JP, even if he comes back, there's no guarantees. Actually, there pretty much is no guarantees that he's going to do any good. Leo Rivas, yeah, he played a little bit better in this series, but is that the guy you want to maybe make some kind of a drive to at least close the gap with the Astros?
No, you don't. And I agree 100%. Cole Young looks amazing. We also have another young guy. I can't remember what his name is right now.
What's his shortstop? Cole Emerson? Well, he's A+. He's A+, though, so they're not going to call him up.
No, I know, but I'd like to see him in AAA by the end of the year and moving guys up, because we need a middle infield. I get Polanco's there, but I'm just unimpressed by him. The last good second baseman we had, and I'm not going to take too much time in this, was Frazier, and that's pretty sad because he had a really bad year with us. That's the best.
I can even go as far as saying Abraham Toro, and although he was pretty bad, but when it came to the 9th inning and needed a clutch bat, you got him.
Yeah, and he's having a great year in Oakland.
He's actually, yeah. Shoes proves Mariners have bad coaching, and we could say this all the way till midnight, but boy, I got to get some sleep and wake up at 6 in the morning for my morning show. But BC says good, go Dodgers, good series. Yep, congratulations on the sweep. I'm glad that you are enjoying it at our own expense.
Hard fought sweep. No, I just want to thank you, Rooftop, for having me on. I'm really enjoying this. Anytime you want a guest, I got you. I love talking baseball.
Yeah, let's do that so we can draw other fans to come in, because
I'm hoping other guys want to do this too. I like hearing other opinions, but I mean, if people don't want to, I'll take the airtime.
Yeah, you'll take the airtime, and I thought today was the perfect day to go on a show. I thought this was gonna be like no time, but then when I said, my twisted thought was wait, but people are so mad that they just want to vent somewhere. So
they do.
I did provide a service.
Yeah, and your service is really valuable. I mean, it's just, again, I hope fans take more use of it, because, and again, as you said, other channels like to mute, or they don't. Oh, well, that's not what I agree. This is the whole point of having a podcast. The whole point of doing this is so that fans can air their own grievances and say what they're thinking. I mean, we're all, I mean, none of us are in the major leagues, so we're all just going off of what our opinions are. So that's why it really confuses me when people get blocked. It's like, last I checked, you're not a major leaguer, so why are you getting butthurt because someone else says something completely different than you, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent?
To think about it, they let a guy that doesn't even have 300 followers, this guy, bother them, who have little to no significance, and somehow a comment of mine impacted the guys of people of like thousands or maybe million, and they see mine and they're like, how could you say that? Blocked! Or actually better, they'll quote me to try to humiliate me.
Hey, and there's that's just more pettiness. But
it is.
Yeah, it was a great show tonight. I'm featuring I want to say this is the 2017 Mariners patriotic game hat that we did not wear. We actually wore the one with the M on it, the Trident M, which I have. But it's just it brings me back to good times when we had a team that at least tried. Another time that we should talk about that 2014 Mariners playoff run when Cano first got here, that we lost one game away from the wild card. The A's ended up going, and they played Kansas City that year, and the rest is history. But that's one that's not talked about.
The most underrated part of that team, and before we go, because we got to go, but the most underrated part of that team, I mean, they said it was all Cano and like Kyle Seager and Felix Hernandez, but the most underrated part were the guys below Felix Hernandez in the starting rotation. You had a young James Paxton. He didn't really do much. Taijuan Walker didn't do much, but you also had like Arasso. I think it was like Roenis Elias and like Ramirez. They actually, and Chris Young, they actually held that starting. They had that starting rotation. And I didn't like the bullpen, but the bullpen was statistically the best in baseball.
Fernando Rodney.
I didn't like him though. 48 saves, but they were all like men on first and second kind of saves.
Hey, man, but I'd take that right now.
At this point, I guess so.
All right. Have a good night, Rooftop. Thank you.
Everyone else, have a good night. And have a good night, Ian. Thanks for being here. And everyone, thank you for being on the show. And I'm glad that I was able to provide a place for you guys to express everything that you needed to express about the Mariners, because maybe other places wouldn't have allowed it. But here, I was saying it. If you hate Scott Service, say it. If you love him, say it. But that's going to do it. And I'm just going to say, have a good night. And also see you at 6:30 in the morning for a show. If you guys are up, maybe you guys are up taking a shower, or you're driving to your dreadful 9-to-5 jobs or whatever you got, or 8-to-5s. But whatever it is, I'm happy to be at service. I just want to say good night and painfully saying, go Mariners.